What's good, Chaotic Nation? It's your boy, Chaos here, back with our final episode of fixing gym leaders until Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are released. Today we are visiting the Galar region to analyze the gym leaders and determine some changes that would need to be made to their teams in order to make them better represent their region. The goal of this series is to create teams with Pokemon native to their respective region, rather than rely on previous generations of Pokemon in order to create gym teams. For those of you who are wondering about one of these for the Alola games, I have chosen not to include Generation 7 since the gym feature was not used in those games and are instead replaced with Trials. I may look into doing some video covering the Trials at some point, but it's not going to be part of this series. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into today's video. Before we look at the gyms, I want to mention the gimmick of Generation 8, which is Dynamaxing. Dynamax is a feature that is available at certain power spots, which are available at every single gym in the region. Each gym leader uses a Dynamax as their ace Pokemon. On top of this Dynamax feature, Gigantamax Pokemon also exist, which have an exclusive G-Max move and an altered form. Despite how much I despise Dynamax and Gigantamax, I will be aiming to include a Gigantamax ace Pokemon for each gym leader's ace in order to showcase this feature, since it is likely only going to be in Sword and Shield. Our first gym leader is Milo. Milo has one of the better gym puzzles in this game, however his team needs a bit of work. Milo uses Gossifleur and Eldegoss, which are evolutions of each other. Now, I get the theme of picking cotton and Milo being a farmer, but only using one evolutionary line is unacceptable. Game Freak has got to diversify their gyms a bit more, because Milo could have been a really solid start to present the difficulty of the Galar Gym Challenge. I have opted to work in a Gigantamax Pokemon onto Milo's team in Flapple or Appleton. Sword and Shield was the first Pokemon game to have version-exclusive gym leaders, and this would be a good nod to those down the road, where Flapple appears in Sword and Appleton appears in Shield. Flapple and Appleton would be Gigantamax in order to meet the criteria of having a Gigantamax Pokemon on the team. Now, I know that Gigantamax really isn't discussed at this point in the story of Sword and Shield. However, the opportunity was presented with the Toxicity glyph that the player meets Sonia at in Turffield. Sonia could describe how the glyph is a representation of Toxicity, but it seems to be an altered form, which not only sets up an explanation for Gigantamax later on, but also canonizes the community theory that the glyph depicts Toxicity during the Darkest Day. On to the Raging Wave. Nessa is our second challenge. As a water specialist, Nessa makes use of the overused feature of a Rain Team for her Dynamax Pokemon, which I have no problem with. It's her team that bothers me. Her original team is Goldeen, Arrokuda, and D-Max Dreadnought. Goldeen is such an underwhelming Pokemon, and I'm convinced Game Freak only included it on Nessa's team so they could have a Gen 1 Mon here. Also, there is no reason that Dreadnought should not be in its Gigantamax form. I know that D-Max Dreadnought is better for Rain, but I think G-Max could really shine through better for Nessa's team, because she doesn't really take advantage of the rain, and Dreadnought is already powerful enough. To better Nessa's team, I have added Cramorant. This native Galar Pokemon provides a much needed counter to grass types, as they tend to run Nessa's team, especially if you choose Grookey as your starter Pokemon. Finishing our starter typing trifecta, we have the ever-burning Man of Fire, Kabu. Kabu is one of the most troublesome fights in the game if you are underprepared, but his team still needs some tweaks in order to Galarify it a little bit, since he uses both Arcanine and Ninetales, two Generation 1 Pokemon. I will spare you the criticism this time of Game Freak using Generation 1 Pokemon for the gym leaders of every single generation, but know that it does bother me and leaves a stale taste in my mouth. To revitalize Kabu's team, I have included Raboot and Carkol to the team. There really are only a few fire types in Generation 8, and I felt that using Zen Mode Darmanitan this early on was not justifiable, since it would start off as an ice type, and it would be very overpowered. I really have no reason to go with these mons other than that they are the only fire types that are available in the game. You could always give a Focus Sash to Carkol and potentially take advantage of its Steam Engine ability, but that's all I got. And also, Kabu is training a Carkol when you first meet him in Galar Mine number 2, so it kind of makes sense that it would be on the team. Our first version exclusive gym to take our 4th spot on our Galar challenge. I'll start first with the sword exclusive Bea. As a fighting type specialist, Bea uses Hitmontop, Pangoro, Stirfetch, and G-Max Machamp. Now, I don't really have a problem with this team, but I would be remiss not to include both Phalanx and Grapplock on her team. Both of these mons are really unique fighting types, and I feel like they really should be showcased on Bea's team. While this removes some of our coverage, we also get to see strategies with Phalanx in No Retreat and Grapplock's Octolock. Allister is the shield exclusive for our 4th gym and is a ghost type user with a team of Yamask, Mimikyu, Cursula, and G-Max Gengar. Again, I don't really have much of a problem with this team. I just wanted to include Poltegeist over Mimikyu and evolve Yamask into Runerigus. Poltegeist really should be included on this team because the pots for it are sold and so on the side, as well as it naturally occupies the Glimwood Tangle, which is just outside of town. It naturally feels like it would be a good member for this team. I also chose to use Runerigus because Bea uses Sirfetch instead of Farfetch for this her team, and if Bea can run the fully evolved Mon, so can Allister. Coming up on the joke gym of the Galar region, Opal, the fairy type user, is our opponent. I say joke gym because you are given free stat buffs by answering questions correctly, making this gym incredibly too easy. Regardless, Opal's team is pretty solid with Galarian Weezing, Mawile, Togekiss, and G-Max Alcremie. My main problem with this team is that Opal doesn't really make use of the Pokemon in the nearby Glimwood Tangle. I will replace her Mawile and Togekiss with Grimmsnarl and Hatterene. Now, this gives Opal the potential to Dynamax and Gigantamax 3 of her Pokemon, which I think would be cool for her to randomly choose her G-Max Mon due to her trying to counter your team. This could make Opal's AI better than some of the other challenges you've had thus far in the game, and it would be a really cool feature for this gym. The other version exclusive gym in this game is our next test. Starting with Gordie, the rock type leader, we see a team of Barbaracle, Shuckle, Stonejourner, and G-Max Colossal. I'm swapping both Barbaracle and Shuckle with Carkol and Dreadnought. I know this overlaps with both Nessa and Kabu's team, but there really aren't many other rock type options to be used here. I would rather use Galar Mons for this team than previous generation Mons, and that's why I decided that this was totally fine. And also, Dreadnought does fill the typing that Barbaracle had, so it kind of makes sense. Melony is the shield exclusive ice leader. Melony's team is actually perfect. Game Freak got this one right. You can definitely tell they designed this gym to be Melony's since they created a really awesome team for it, and the location of the gym is a snow theme. I feel like it would be cool if we did one slight change, and that is make Darmanitan Zen mode. It would just be cool to use a fire and ice type by a gym leader, and it's a nice surprise factor for a team that already has a lot of really good coverage and really good ability to take on your team. But throwing on a fire type would just be a cool little treat for the mix. Now, Piers is a weird case since he doesn't really like to use Gigantamax Pokemon. This is our first Dark-type gym leader, and he lacks native Pokemon on his team, which consists of Scrafty, Skuntank, Malamar, and Obstagoon. Now, I really can't say much because none of the Dark-type Pokemon have ever been on a gym before, unless they were on their secondary typings, because this is, again, the first Dark-type gym. But I still want to make it more native. I have removed every Pokemon on this team besides Obstagoon, and it now includes Morpeko, Feeble, and Grimmsnarl. Morpeko is a nice touch as Marnie also uses a Morpeko in the playthrough, and it just kind of shows their sibling connection there. The rest are available Dark-type Pokemon in the Galar region. Grimmsnarl also works for this team as a G-Max option for Piers if he would choose to actually use the gimmick, so I wanted to have a G-Max Mon just in case he decided, hey, I'm going to use Gigantamax today. Our final gym and our biggest culprit of the terrible gym design is Raihan, the weather gym leader. I would say Dragon, but he uses weather Pokemon. I mean, he's supposed to use Dragon Mons, but half of his team isn't even Dragon type. His team in the game includes Gigalith, Flygon, Sandaconda, and G-Max Duraludon. Now, this is a pretty solid Sand team, however, there is the severe lack of Dragon types, making this a Sand gym and not a Dragon gym. Removing everything except the Duraludon, Raihan's new team includes Dracloak, Flapple or Appleton, which will be the opposite one for Milo, Dragozolt, and Dracovic. There are some really cool dragons in this generation, and it's really sad that Raihan's original team does not include really any of them besides Duraludon. Having some of these fossil Pokemon in this game be dragon types is a really cool feature, and I really feel like Raihan would use them, and they would be showcased on his team. With these changes, I think Raihan would actually be on par with his rival, the champion. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of my changes in the comment section down below, and let me know if you would change anything else as well. It's kind of sad to see this series go by, but hopefully someone out there at Game Freak has taken these suggestions to heart, so I don't have to make more correcting the future gym leaders videos. Like, Scarlet and Violet is coming up, and I just hope they make it well. That's all I'm hoping for. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Pokemon content from me. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Chaos, signing off. Stay safe, and as always, burn it up.